Hello my soccer universe, what a full midweek did we have, most with cup action, great cup action to boot, however also 2 full rounds in Germany and England that also produced quite the headlines. So I don't really wanna spend a lot of time with this opener, let's jump right in. We'll start in Germany with one of the results of this midweek. The biggest talking point coming out of the Bundesliga weekend was of course the first game. Holstein Kiel fully deservedly beat Dortmund 4-2 at home. An absolute mad result, and that despite some starters for Dortmund coming back into the lineup as opposed to their game where they lost to Bayer Leverkusen at home. It was a really flat performance. Kiel had a 3-0 halftime lead and it seemed like every time they're going in front of goal they're scoring. Magino, Harres and Bernhardsson making it this emphatic scoreline, and for the longest of time Kiel then were just hanging back, seeing it out. Teeny bit of credit for Nuri Sahin. He tried to make changes at the halftime and at the hour mark. Reina pulled one back. Yes, Reina is scoring again. Then when Gittens in the 77th, so within 6 minutes they scored the 2 goals. You thought the comeback for Dortmund is on. However, they didn't really have the means to break it down, and when they were all pushing, and Holtby for Kiel even got sent off with a red card, so the Kiel was sitting even deeper, waiting for counterattacks, and in the end it's Arp in the 98th minute who scores an empty net goal from far out as well to just settle an absolute astonishing result. Dortmund at the beginning of the year in utter disarray. Already the calls for Nur Sahin to be fired. However, I think the problem sits a little bit higher up. Meanwhile, for about 24 hours, Leverkusen reduced the finish to Bayern Munich to a single point, beating Mainz in the top duel of that round. 1-0 thanks to a Grimaldo free kick. The game was really a tight one, but overall I think Leverkusen deserved their win. Frankfurt had a little scare when Rizzo Dorn gave Freiburg a lead, however then Koch quickly equalized in the second half. Omar Mamouche, yes, on the weekend it was not his last goal. This may be his last goal. We have to see. Etikite and Collins making a rather resounding scoreline for a free-flowing Frankfurt team who now still maintain their 3rd spot. Wolfsburg also hitting the next gear, you would think, beating Gladbach also very emphatically 5-1 at home, and the Gladbach goal came in the 89th minute. It was already 5-0. Wind, Mele, Arnold and a brace by Mecha making it rather resounding, fully deserved win for the Wolves. Then a Hofmann goal in the early kickoff on Wednesday gave Bochum their 2nd win on the field of the season, of course the 3rd one as they have been awarded the win at Union Berlin, something that is still causing loads of discussions in Germany. However, with everything getting really tight on the bottom, there is a chance for another miracle survival for Bochum. Well, that's nothing that Bayern have to worry about. They just extend the lead to 4 points with a relatively easy 5-0 over Hoffenheim. A Hoffenheim team that is really falling and seems to be very much relegation threatened at the moment. There was almost no resistance. Sané, Guerrero, Kane playing freely to give it a 3-0 halftime lead. Sané even scores them right after half the 2nd one, and Gnabry in the 66th, and then they just shut up shop, focused on the next tasks. And probably the game of this round was Stuttgart beating Leipzig 2-1 at home, but this was a really entertaining game, back and forth. Stuttgart though really dominant all throughout. However, it was Šeško that gave Leipzig the lead in the 10th minute, assisted by Xavi Simons, and with a little bit of luck they might have even doubled that one. However, in the second half Stuttgart really kicked them into the next year. Brünn Larsen and Woltemade within 10 minutes of the first 15 minutes turned the game around, and it could have gotten even more ugly. It actually got ugly for Leipzig because Šeško, who probably should have already been sent off in the 20th minute for a rather rough tackle, got his 2nd yellow card, and then Openda, who had been complaining earlier on, also got his 2nd yellow card. So both superstar strikers being sent off for Leipzig. Stuttgart get the 3 points, meaning they're closing the gap to Leipzig to a single point, set for another return to the Champions League spots. You may have noticed I'm wearing an Augsburg jersey for the first time ever on this channel, and Augsburg is one of those teams, ever since I had this jersey, they had a really bad run of form and you thought they might get dragged into the relegation battle. Boom, they go to Union Berlin and score 2 goals through Claude Maurice to settle the game, and again lifting themselves a little bit away from the trouble. And then lastly, we had a really crazy one between Werder Bremen and Heidenheim, a Heidenheim team that is also relegation threatened at this moment. Werder had 3 times the lead. They took the lead in the first minute already through Marco Grüll, Austrian, who also scored the third goal for Werder Bremen. But every single time Heidenheim came back, and the last one came in the 95th minute. Scienza, I think it was a free kick, gave them equals. An absolutely mad game. Bremen stuck in mid-table with that result. If it wasn't for the weird jersey regulations where the same sponsors have to be worn by all the teams, at least they now try to match it with the jerseys and not give the home team one sponsor and the away team another sponsor. I would argue that the Coupe de France is one of the best, if not the best, cup competitions in Europe. Plenty of upsets, a format that favors the outsiders with only 90 minutes being played, and then it goes straight to a penalty shootout, and also more or less an open draw as well. So really exciting stuff, and this round of 32 saw arguably 3 favorites being already eliminated and a 4th one, the biggest one of them all, being so close to a penalty shootout, which also adds a little bit more jeopardy. But one by one. Monaco out. They lose on penalties at Stade de Reims. Quipré had given Reims the lead in the 45th minute. Salisu gets the equalizer, assisted by new signing from Sturm Graz, Mika Bireth, and then the first 3 takers by Monaco miss. Quipré though also misses, but still, it's overall an easy penalty win for Stade de Reims. OM's hopes for lifting this trophy, the biggest target for the season in a way, because neither in Europe nor in the league they are having a chance of lifting the trophy. So this was it. They also eliminated penalties against Lille. Lille got the lead through Haraldsen. Deep in stoppage time, Luis Enrique gets the equalizer, assisted by Rabiot. However, Luis Enrique and Rowe in the 5th penalty miss, whereas Lille are flawless, and so another penalty shootout loss for one of the favorites. But easily the biggest upset was Bourgoin-Jallieu eliminating Olympique Lyonnais on penalties. They took a surprise lead. Matic equalized in the 45th minute. When Mikadaze gives Lyon the lead in the 64th, you could only think that they are moving on to the next round. However, Mujecki again gets an equalizer just a few minutes later, and Lyon cannot find a winner. And then in the penalty shootout, Lacazette and Tolisso, the first 2 takers, miss for Lyon. Mujecki also, after his brace in the game, also misses. However, otherwise, Bourgoin are flawless and are moving on to the next round. Lyon losing to a 5th tier side. Major upset. Meanwhile, Brest remain in the running. Sima and Chardonnay already in the first half gave it a comfortable 2-0 lead. Vergeresi only late on cuts the lead in half, however Brest see it out. Strasbourg also was close to elimination at 5th tier Town, but unlike Lyon, they make it. However, that's not the notable part on this one. It is that the 2 goals scored by Strasbourg in the first half to give them a 2-0 lead was called Messi. But no relations with Lionel Messi, it's a different Messi. However, despite this 2-0 lead at the half, it was already 2-2, and it has to go to penalties where Strasbourg remain flawless. And the 5th tier side also gave PSG a little scare. Espali took a 1-0 lead in the 3rd minute. Zaire Emery, 37th minute, equalized it. Desiré Doué in the 67th seemingly got PSG the winner because, once they're in the lead, they will never concede. Oh, Fournier, just 4 minutes later, manages just that, and it really looked like on a bad pitch that PSG might have to go to penalties. However, then Brady Bacola in the 88th and Gonzalo Ramos with a penalty give PSG the 4-2 win, and they escape a little scare. The 5th round of the Portuguese Cup took forever to complete. It started in mid-December, and now in the midweek with the last 2 fixtures, we finally know all the quarterfinalists. Benfica had a little scare. Farense led 1-0 at the halftime break. However, Hjeldrup, Cabral, and then Ba turned it around by the 62nd minute, and Benfica kind of waltzed through to the next round. Whereas Braga's 2-1 home win over Lusitano seems a little bit disappointing. However, at the halftime, Orta already had given Braga a 2-0 lead, and the goal for Lusitano came relatively late in the 84th minute. So I would argue also not too complicated of a fixture. After a full week of cup fixtures, because England is weird, we had a full Premier League round in the midweek, and it was a round that featured loads of draws on the top, which means that Arsenal actually might be back into a title race. We'll see about that. But one by one, City seemingly had slain the Brentford Dragon, having a 2-0 lead through a brace by Phil Foden in the 78th minute. And yes, they survived a few scares in between, but also missed a few chances. And then Vissa in the 82nd reignites the game, and in the stoppage time, Nurgat gets an equalizer. More points drop for City. Similar but still reverse story for Chelsea, who were dominant in the first half, and Cole Palmer gave them a lead with a brilliant dummy and then into the empty net in the 13th minute, and they cannot make the second goal, and so it's a penalty by Justin Kluivert, who equalizes for Bournemouth in the 50th minute, and Semenyo in the 68th actually gives Bournemouth the lead, and it needed then a very late Reece James free kick to salvage the point for Chelsea, who are now 5 games in a row winless. The title run definitely over. West Ham also got their first win under new coach Graham Potter. It's a 3-2 home win over Fulham. Yes, Fulham were missing chances, and West Ham was a little bit more clinical in their finishing. Carlos Soler and Thomas Soucek actually within 2 minutes gave them a 2-0 halftime lead. Iwobi cuts one back. Then, after a pressing moment, Paquetá re-establishes a 2-goal lead for West Ham. However, Iwobi again manages to pull one back, but West Ham see it out. However, all eyes were on what was happening in Nottingham, where third place Forest took on Liverpool, and Forest already had beaten Liverpool at Anfield earlier this season, and they took an 8th minute lead through Chris Wood. Liverpool not quite at the races, it is really weird to play Forest. Forest with some luck could have even doubled their lead, but that would have been a little bit too much. Second half, Liverpool really turned it on, and Sales had an absolute stunning performance, because otherwise Liverpool would have run away with that one. And so it needed a substitution of the week when Slot brings on Tsimikas and Diogo Jota. Tsimikas makes the corner in the first play after the substitution. That, who else? Diogo Jota heads home. And then again, they cannot find the winner, but I think this point is not too bad for Liverpool. However, they have been dropping points a little bit too consistently as of late. Over at Merseyside, David Moyes celebrated his comeback at Everton. Everton had an improved performance again, finishing let them down, but overall it was Villa who were the better side, and Ollie Watkins gives them the winner, their first away win since October in the 51st minute. Crystal Palace also seemingly have turned around their season after a bad start. Now they are on a really good run and moving away from the relegation zone. However, their win at Leicester was a little bit lucky, because Leicester were largely the better team. However, the better chances fell to Palace. Mateta in the 52nd, and then Maguire heads it in the 78th minute to give Palace a 2-0 win. Another team that is in real good form is Newcastle, easily brushing aside Wolves with a brace by Isak, who also then assisted Gordon on the 3rd goal. The marquee fixture on Wednesday though was the North London Derby. However, Spurs really didn't show up. Took actually the lead against the run of play by a deflected shot by Son. However, it is then a Solanke own goal after a corner kick that never should have been given. However, no one is really complaining. It was such a flat performance by Spurs that gets the equalizer for Arsenal, and then 4 minutes later, Trossard, just ahead of halftime, gets the winning goal. Second half improved by Spurs. However, Arsenal probably should have ran away with it. On Thursday, Brighton put Ipswich also in a little bit more trouble, winning 2-0 away from home, Mitoma and Rutter getting the 2 goals. And for a while it looked like Southampton could pull an upset at Old Trafford, with Ugarte scoring an own goal in the 43rd minute to give Southampton the halftime lead. And it stayed for that for a long time. However, then it was the Amad Diallo show. He gets the equalizer in the 82nd minute, then the go-ahead goal in the 90th minute, nicely assisted by Eriksen, and then Diallo himself, after a pressing moment, scores a hat-trick. The Dutch Cup may not get much attention, however it may have delivered the game of the year so far, and probably for a little while, I would argue. No, I'm not talking about AZ's 2-0 win over Ajax, although this was also a slight upset, but it deserved one. Goes in the 36th, and then Meerdink in the 89th minute, securing the upset of the Amsterdammers. I'm talking, of course, about PSV's 5-4 win over Excelsior after overtime in a game where PSV seemed like they're already down and out. They may have controlled the first half, however didn't score, and when they scored it was an offside goal by Bakayoko, and then Naujoks, just before the halftime break, gives Excelsior the lead, and he doubles it in the 58th minute. However, plenty of time for PSV to respond. We are talking about the best team in the Netherlands at the moment, and Malik Tillman in the 73rd minute actually does that. The chase is on. However, they're caught on a counter-attack, and Duyvestein in the 80th minute re-establishes a 2-goal lead for Excelsior. 10 minutes? You should see out that game. Well, Pepe cuts the lead in half in the 86th minute, and it seemed like time is running out for PSV. It was a long stoppage time, and with the last kick of the game, it is a ball that seemingly Excelsior had already cleared, and it lies around in the box. De Jong quickly plays it over to Saibari, who gets the equalizer. It goes into overtime. The overtime period was also relatively wild. By the 101st minute, Saibari plays a beautiful ball to Pepe, who really nicely dinks it over the goalie into the net. And then Perisic scores a rocket in the 110th minute to give PSV the 5-3 lead and seemingly the win. However, then they give away a penalty. The lead is cut again in half. However, Excelsior cannot find an equalizer and PSV just barely escape in an absolute mad, typical cup fight. Another upside slightly was the Go Ahead Eagles beating Twente at home 3-1 despite being down at the half through a Stein goal. However, Edvardsen, Deje and Surai turn it around in the second half. While Sebastian Aller reconfirms that Utrecht are the best away team in the Eredivisie. They were 1-0 down at the halftime at Waalwijk. However, then he scores a brace. First he gets the equalizer in the 46th minute and scores the win in the 80th from the penalty spot. Meanwhile, the defending champions Feyenoord had no trouble at a third-tier team Rijnsburgse boys. Jimenez and Reed already by the 7th minute had given them a 2-0 lead. They run out 4-1 winners with Jimenez scoring a brace. However, we have two third-tier teams in the quarterfinals. First off, in a duel of Tweede Divisie teams, Noordwijk beat Barendrecht 1-0 after overtime. However, more surprisingly, the Quick Boys, with another cup upset, 3-2 at home against Heerenveen, had the halftime lead 1-0. Heerenveen turned it around by the 76th minute. However, then late on, Zonneveld a penalty sends it to overtime, and Van Duyn gets the winner for the Quick Boys. And lastly, Heracles also get a 2-0 win at the Graafschap. I really didn't expect much from this Copa del Rey round, but it delivered quite some remarkable results and performances. Urense against Valencia, 2-0 win for Valencia, not much that we need to talk home about. However, already the second game that saw Segunda leaders Almeria take on Leganés at home was quite remarkable. Leganés had a 1-0 lead that was then turned around by Suarez and Lazaro before De La Fuente and Garcia give Leganés the win. However, the craziest but potentially also the least talked about performance is Getafe's 1-0 win at Pontevedra, the surprise side of this competition so far. In the second minute, Rodriguez gives Getafe the lead and then they shut up shop, have only 19% of possession for the rest of the game and even have sent 2 men sent off. But that's Getafe football for you. Much more stylish though, Barcelona's 5-1 win over Betis. After winning the Supercopa, Barcelona just kicked into next year and Lamine Yamal shows that he might be the next best player in the world with an absolute dominant performance despite him not being involved in as many goals. First goal came with a nice 1-2 between Olmo and Gavi. Then a really nice long ball sees Yamal laying it off nice for Koundé, making it 2-0. There were quite a few chances for Barca in there to even double or triple that lead. However, there was also one for Vitor Roque, who is a loanee from Barca at Betis. The only shame was that Koundé's great goal, what a great pass by Yamal, did not count. There was another one by Yamal being disallowed before Rafinha then gets the 3-0. Olmo then nicely finds Ferran Torres for the 4th one, and then Yamal himself was flagged off for offside, but he gets his goal on the night as well. Fully deservedly so. Later on, a penalty for Vitor Roque to make it 5-1. So on the pitch, Barcelona absolutely irresistible at the moment, at least when the opposition is a little bit more open. However, it's the off-field issues that are still causing major stirs and mainly questions. And while Barca pull on the style, Atletico Madrid rather impressively keep on winning. Without conceding goals, they get a relatively easy 4-0 win at Elche. Searle scoring a brace in the first half, Riquelme and Alvarez doubling the scoreline in the second half. Holders Bilbao are also out in a true cup fight against Osasuna. While they may have dominated the first half, Oroz and Budimir with a penalty within 4 minutes just before the halftime gave Osasuna a 2-0 lead that is then cut in half before that halftime break by Nico Williams with a thunderous shot. Then, when De Marcos in the 55th minute gave Athletic the equalizer, you really thought that they're gonna now push further and will get easily the winner. However, it is Ante Budimir, former Lask player, who gets his second goal and the winner for Osasuna. Meanwhile, Real Sociedad get a relatively easy 3-1 win over Rayo Vallecano. Oyarzabal and Olas Gasti scoring 2 in the first half. Yes, Rejo gets a penalty late in the first half, pull one back, and then Gomez gets the 3rd for La Sociedad. But probably the most controversial game happened in Madrid, where Real Madrid seemingly were cruising to a win only to be pushed to overtime. However, the controversy came on the first goal by Kylian Mbappé, a really well taken goal. But on the other side, There was a clear penalty foul that probably should have resulted in a penalty. How this was not given is a little bit beyond me, and directly from that situation, Real Madrid launched a counter-attack. As I said, Mbappe finishes quite expertly. Second half, Vinicius Jr. makes it 2-0, and then I thought Arda Güler had already decided the game 3-0, but it was an offside. And that allowed Celta to get back into the game. Bamba in the 83rd, and then a penalty by Marcos Alonso getting the equalizer, however, in overtime. Then Real Madrid get the job done, however, it needed the second half of overtime. When Endrick scores the go-ahead goal, Valverde then, thunderous shot, 4-2, and then a little bit of gravy on top with Endrick scoring with his back heel. But that performance by Real Madrid did not satisfy the demanding fans. Boy, this was a really long review video, but Cup action really delivers most of the time and is really the most exciting part. Sadly enough, we'll have Champions League only next week and the week thereafter in the midweek. In any case, please let me know what you thought about the action in this midweek. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. Subscribe to my channel if you want to see more videos like these, and I will talk to you soon about more things in my soccer universe. Bye! Hey there, I really hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, here are some videos and playlists that you may enjoy too. Also, please consider subscribing to my channel and hit the little bell icon so you get notified whenever something happens in my soccer universe. And with that, have a wonderful day. Bye!